What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Figma My Hero Academia Katsuki Bakugo. And so here we have Bakugo posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually take a look at what he comes with. Bakugo does come with two different face plates. He does come with a smiling, smirking expression, which he has on him right now. And then he also does have an angry, enraged faceplate, which looks really good. I do like that. We also do get 8 different hands. We do get a pair of fists for Bakugo. We get a pair of hands for holding an accessory, even though he doesn't come with anything to hold. He comes with a pair of open palmed hands. And then finally we do have a pair of open palm hands with a peg on them, and that peg is for his blast quirk effects, which look really nice. We do get 2 different versions. We do get one for his right hand, which looks really good, and then we also do get one for his left hand, and of course he does come with the Figma display stand. Other than that, Bakugo does feel a little bit light on accessories, and if there was one accessory I wish he came with, was an alternate head, and I'll get right onto that since we're moving on to his details. I do have to urge caution when handling this figure. There are a lot of fragile points on him, mainly being the back of his mask. These are really fragile, and I can already tell that if you're reckless with him and he takes a tumble or you're not paying attention, you're going to end up clipping one of those and it's just going to snap on you. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that is fragile plastic. So you do not want to be messing too much with this, and be aware or putting any type of pressure on here because you will snap it. Now, having a look at his face, they did include his mask, which I think looks good. I would have liked to see a head where he didn't have his mask and these giant fins, because overall it's still a really nice looking figure, and I love the paintwork on the mask. It looks really good. You can see his orange eyes just peeking through. You can see that he has a couple of fins coming out of his hair, also part of his mask, and of course this big part coming out of the back of his head, which I really wish Figma had made these soft plastic, because I'm really scared to be messing around with this, because that does sound like it will break eventually. Having a look at his costume here, the orange and the black really do stand out really nicely. This is a soft material, so it does get out of the way, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm wondering why Figma made this soft plastic, but this really brittle plastic. Then it doesn't make much sense. And something I do enjoy is that all the sculpt work here is nice. The X isn't just painted on, it's sculpted on, and they did a really good job making sure that it wasn't light on any part. It does its job really well. The orange is vibrant and you don't see any black peeking through, which I do enjoy that. You can see on his belt he does have some grenades, which do look nice, and they do have some painted and sculpted detail on them. Having a look at his arms, you can see his armband is orange with black, which I do like that. Having a look at his grenade gauntlet, it looks really nice. Now, once again, just like his head, I advise caution with his grenade gauntlets, because this part is fragile, and when I got him out of the packaging, this one on his right side was broken. Like, it just snapped off even before I took him out of the packaging. I glued it on so it looks fine, but do be aware that he has a lot of places where you don't want to be putting any pressure on. Like, you don't want to put pressure like this. If you're going to move his arm, you're going to want to move it from the grenade gauntlet. So you do have to be aware of how you're putting pressure on this figure, because if you even second guess yourself, you might end up breaking something, and that's unfortunate. Having a look at the rest of his costume, you can see the straps on his legs look really good. The green is a really nice dark green. Really do like these pouches right here on the side. So those look really nice. Knee pads have enough detail on them. They're pointed, which looks really good. I do like that beveled edge. And you can see it does go all the way around. His boots again have this part, which it's not as fragile as you would think. It's actually a really sturdy plastic and does have some give. But again, like with everything else, I advise caution when messing with anything poking off of this figure, because it does seem a little bit fragile. And then the boots are done really nicely. He does have some tread work underneath. And I really do like the orange throughout the costume. It really does make Bakugo here stand out nicely. So overall, despite having a few fragile areas, I still like the way he came out. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we do have Bakugo posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Bakugo posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Bakugo posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. Here we have Bakugo posed next to an SH Figuarts Goku and a Figma Inkling Girl. And finally, here we do have Bakugo posed next to the Figma Deku. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at his articulation. Now, he does have a lot of articulation. Some parts are hindered, and we'll get on to that as we go through it. He does have a really nice head joint, although he doesn't really look up too well. He looks down better than he looks up, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you're going to have him looking down most of the time. I would have liked to see a little more range looking up just for dramatic poses. His head does tilt side to side, which works really good. Again, use extreme caution on how you're holding his head. Does rotate left and right, no problem, so I do like that. Arms are on a ball joint, so they do move around. You can shift it up. You can shift his arm down. You can move it in and out, although it doesn't have the best range. It does go out to the side pretty well, so I do like that. Does a full 360. Again, want to be very careful that you're not putting too much pressure on the grenade handle right here or on the back of his head right there. We do have rotation up at the shoulder. We have a single bend in the elbow, giving us a little better than 90 degrees. You do have to look out for the cutout where his grenade gauntlet is. That way you get the full range. We do have rotation right there too. We have rotation at the grenade gauntlet, so that works nicely. You can see that does pull off. If you're going to be switching the hands out, I really do recommend you pop it off and then pull the hand out. That way you're not putting pressure on anything you don't have to. Hand does rotate really nicely, although it is a little bit hindered. And it's on that same Figma joint, which we've seen already, where you can swivel the joint in and out or up and down. Just a little bit hindered by his grenade gauntlet. We do have a Figma joint in his torso, but because the way his back is sculpted, he doesn't get any backwards movement. He gets forward movement, no problem. Does rotate at the chest really nicely. We do have a ball joint down here, which does work nicely. You can see it goes forward and back, side to side, rotates no problem. Legs do kick out to about there, go back to about there, kick out to the side fairly well, although I believe just like Midoriya, you have to like shift, you do have to shift his body depending on what side you're going to be shifting. If you have him shifted to the right, his left leg kicks out further and vice versa. So do be aware of that. We do have thigh swivel up high. We do have thigh swivel right here underneath this strap, so that's really cool. We have a single bend in the knee, giving us better than 90 degrees, so that's perfectly fine. We have rotation at the boot. Rotation at the ankle, which is really slight. Does have a hinge in the ankle, which goes back, forward facing pin for rocker ankle, and then a really stiff toe joint, but it does work. So overall, Bakugo has a lot of nice articulation, although, as I stated already, use caution when putting pressure on this figure. You don't want to accidentally snap something off. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts. And so here we have Bakugo posed for my final thoughts. And overall, even though this figure has some fragile points that you really shouldn't be putting pressure on, I still think it's a wonderful looking figure. Now, seeing as how mine did have that slight issue with the gauntlet being broken out of the packaging, it's fixed now, but that's something I really should really not tolerate from a company like Figma. I understand that this figure looks nice, but having that many fragile points does kind of take away from the overall aesthetic, because you don't want to spend your time wondering if you're putting too much pressure on a certain point or if it's going to break. Figma did an amazing job with the sculpt work. I just wish they used softer plastic for his grenade gauntlets and for his mask, but overall I still like the way this figure came out. Now, another point of contention I have with this figure is the price. For what we get with this figure, we don't really get too much, and I feel like the $80 price tag is a bit high. If this figure had been $70 or $60, I think he'd be more worth it, but for $70, he's kind of light on accessories. So my overall verdict is, if you're a fan of My Hero Academia, you're going to want to have this guy in your collection, because I think to date he's the best Bakugo figure that we have. I know McFarlane has their own style, but I think the Figma one nails the likeness really nicely. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other Figma videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.